dad's first record. It's Peterson's Field Guide to Bird Songs. It's a field guide in a different way because my dad wasn't crouched over a turntable in the woods, but it's taught him to know birds. It's like when the bands I like tell the story of how things started, how it's always the kid alone in the room spinning the Clash. And that's my dad's story, except he teaches ecology now. Funny this.
Page 88, woodcock.
I laughed listening to the woodcock, whose every word to their loved one is a fart sound, but I bet my dad was more serious. You know, when you woodcock, you woodcock without love for words. It was frustrating to be with him in the woods behind the neighborhood trying to hear how the birds spoke to each other, or hearing the birds and trying to know them the right way.
Page 89.
But mostly just listening to my dad tell me what is what is what. But if this record is how things started, then playing it now is like skipping the prophet and going straight to God, because I'm not ready for the right one, but these dead birds are trying to tell me how to live like he did. And the truth sounds scratchy and old. And when we were in the woods, my dad would make this weird sound with his lips, the birds in the trees. It was like a psh, 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 psh. The sound was like the opposite of a shush. It was a scold that meant come closer. It says, "Hey birds." I'm not a bird, but what am I? Am I hurt, or will I hurt you? I'm here. Come closer. I don't know how well the sound works, but how close do you really want the birds to be? And what would you even do if they came?
Page 209, house or English sparrow.
I have a story of how this thing started for me. I came home from a Cub Scout camporee where I shot my first BB, and my dad went downstairs to find this pellet gun my grandpa bought way back to shoot some squirrels in South Carolina. And
9,
I sat in the kitchen, and my mom was at the kitchen table, and she told me about my dad's first BB gun and the games he used to play alone in the woods with his friends, and how there was a little bird that he didn't mean to shoot, and she didn't remember what it was.
Page 210, meadowlark.
But the dying made my dad frustrated and educated in a new way. And then he came up the stairs holding the pellet gun like it was another thing that he had to give and I had to take, because we exchanged and we traditioned, but only because I don't know any better way to speak with him. The pellet gun is back in the basement somewhere, and the record keeps playing these inscrutable calls of birds that I'll never know like he did. And my mom and dad, they're at the kitchen table, and the way they talk sounds scratchy and old. The way I see it, I'm given two ways of knowing. I can stand in the woods for 50 years listening, or I can make bodies fall from branches in a blasted instant, and I can't spend my whole life just listening, but I don't want to violence the woods into speaking my language. But Peterson will never teach me how to speak bird or truth or to my parents. The best I can do, I figure, is what this is. I'm coming up from the basement, holding nothing, and I'm in the kitchen making the sound that's the opposite of a shush. Am I hurt? Will I hurt you? I'm here. Come closer.